Hello everyone. As I promised, the second game now is underway. On the second game of the FIDE World Chess Championship match between Grandmaster Ding Liren from China and Grandmaster Yan Nepomniachtchi from Russia. Um, we had a very feisty yet dynamic, interesting battle between these two chess giants. If you haven't watched the first part of the FIDE World Chess Championship coverage, you can check my first video. The link will be in the description down below. But for now, let's just cover the second game. So in the second game, Ding Liren from China was playing with the white pieces, and Yan Nepomniachtchi was playing with the black pieces. So without further ado, let's check out the game. Ding Liren started the game with the move pawn to d4. The queen's pawn game. Yan responded with knight to f6, quite standard. Pawn to c4, e6, nothing that the chess world hasn't seen before. Knight to f3. Now we have the standard queen's gambit. Also, we have the queen's pawn game, and after the move pawn to d5, we have a standard queen's gambit declined position. And here there are basically 5 theoretical moves that white can play. We have the moves knight to c3, pawn to g3, pawn to e3, bishop to g5, c takes on d5. You can name them all. But here Ding Liren chose a very offbeat setup with the move pawn to h3. Sorry about that. The move pawn to h3, as Ding said in the press conference, was suggested by his second Grandmaster Rehat Raput, Hungarian #1 player, and he said that it was a very interesting line that they prepared for quite a long time, and they thought it would bear positive results towards his match against Yan. So he decided to try it out and give it a shot. So here we have the move pawn to h3, and Yan responded with the move d takes on c4, and after the move pawn to e3, we now have a queen's gambit accepted position, but black is ahead with a tempo. Since the move pawn to h3 is quite rare in such positions. So here we have the move pawn to c5, bishop takes on c4, a6, and castles. When I checked this position in the database, it was never ever reached on top level, for which it was reached about 2 times by players rated below 1000, and those were just a couple of blitz games, online blitz games, and they both ended in a draw. And it was quite interesting to see what these two chess giants will bring in this position. So here the game continues with knight to c6. We have knight to c3. So far, no more development moves. Pawn to b5, chasing the bishop out. Bishop to d3, bishop to b7, quite standard. Pawn to a4, weakening or undermining the black's pawn on the queen side. We have pawn to b4 here, great move from Yan. And here after the move, knight to e4 and knight to a5, which was a great response from Yan, because now the knight on e4 is a little bit loose and is feeling more pressure here. And Ding here had to decide whether does he capture here on c5 or does he captures here on f6. And it is interesting to know that Ding Liren actually had this position against Lwando Masoka in a game that they played quite some time ago, and Ding Liren's position here as white had a rook on e1 instead of the move pawn to h3, and Ding here continued with the move knight takes on c5 and went on to win a very interesting game. And I don't know what was missed here objectively, but here Ding went on for a very inaccurate sequence with the move knight takes on f6 check, and basically he said that in the press conference he expected the move queen takes on f6 and e4, where he would hold a very sharp and dynamic position for both sides. But interestingly, Jan here chose the best continuation, which is the move. Um, sorry about that. After the move knight takes on f6 check, here Jan continued with the move g takes on f6, which was the best move. And here Ding surprisingly continued with the move pawn to e4, which basically gives Jan a better position, because firstly Jan has an open g file for his rook, which just launches a red carpet for an attack towards the white king, and he has more prospects later on in the game. Thus Ding's pieces look strange and they do not have much to do in the game, but you will see that later on. So here, after the move g takes on h6, also after the move pawn to e4, here Jan continues with the move pawn to c4, attacking the bishop here on d3, and Ding plays the move bishop to c2 here, and Jan here continues with the move queen to c7, removing the queen here from the d file, putting the queen in a much active position here, targeting this diagonal here. The bishop will also be developed on d6, which will put pressure on along this diagonal, and the king will safely be escorted on the queen side. Here the game continues with the move bishop to d2 from Ding, which is quite normal, and here Jan continues with the move rook to g8, putting a rook on an open file here, for which the computer regards it as an inaccurate move, and it says that castling was precise in the position. But yeah, rook to g8 looks fine to a human eye, and I don't think Jan can be quite punished for this quite obvious move here. But anyways, the game continues with the move rook to c1, and here Jan continues with long castles. Now you may say that, well, this long castle move by Jan is a quite risky decision, because his king stands in a much more dangerous position. But objectively, the king that is not safe in this position is the white king here on g1, because the rook currently hits the g2 pawn, so the rook has a clear target than the rook on c1, where it just hits on a brick wall on c4, because the pawn is just defended by the knight and the queen. And here the activity of the black's pieces is higher, meaning that it compensates the black's weaknesses, and we will see later on how this played a very important role in the game. So let's check out the game continuation. So here in this position, the last move that was played was castles, I believe. Yeah, it was castles. And then here Ding continues with the move bishop to d3. It's quite normal. He is exploiting the pin here on the queen, and he is putting pressure on the c4 pawn. but as you will later on see that this move was quite wrong. So after the move bishop to d3, Jan continues with king to b8, and here Ding continues with the move rook to e1. Well, the best move apparently was the move rook takes on c4. Also, it was the move bishop takes on c4, which after bishop takes c4, knight takes on c4, I believe he had the move b3, which would win material back, and it would give white more holding chances. But okay, Ding played the move rook to e1 here, and then Jan came up with this very, very brilliant move, pawn to f5, opening up the position on the queen's, also on the king's side. And notice that Ding cannot capture the pawn here on f5, as that would lead to a very, very thematic line of the move. Sorry, not the move. Bishop to c6 here. After Ding captures here. Sorry, this is not the position. After the move pawn to f5 here, the position would be quite complicated. After the move after the move bishop takes on f3, I believe, and after the move queen takes on f3, which is quite forced. Here in this position, the white's position is quite difficult to handle, as the avalanche on the king's side will be too much to handle at some point, and black will have more attacking chances later on in the game. But let's check out the game continuation here. After the move pawn to f5, Ding had to respond with the move bishop to c2 here, admitting that the move bishop to d3 was a mistake. And here Jan continues with the move knight to c6, a great move that brings the knight into action again. And yeah, it is just a great move. That's all. So after the move bishop to g5 here, Jan Nepomniachtchi here finds an interesting move that I would like you to pause the video and try to find the best move here for black within a couple of seconds. For those of you who were able to do it, congratulations. You are an excellent tactic solver. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is the move rook takes on g5. Yeah, the reason why I did it in slow motion, it's because the move is quite good. That's chess.com regards it as a brilliant move. Basically, the move rook takes on g5 removes the a very, very active piece on the white's position, and it also enables the black's attack to go or to run much smoothly. So after the move knight takes on g5 here, because Ding is much more or less forced to accept the exchange, and knight takes on g5 was met with the move knight takes on d4. And here in this position, Ding is actually quite lost, because his position is quite hard to handle. He tried the move queen to h5 here, but it did not work out after the move pawn to f6. as he had to defend a quite difficult position. Hence, he tried the move knight to f3 here, which did not help as well because his position was just quite too much to handle. After the move knight takes on c2, rook takes on c2, and bishop takes on e4, he was basically lost here. And the game continues with the move rook to d2, bishop to d6 here, developing a bishop to a more forward, to a more active position. And after the move bishop to d6, he played king to h1 here because the threat here was to, after the move bishop to d6, the threat was to simply capture here on f3 and play the move bishop to h2 check, which would win the rook on d2. I hope you can see that. So basically the threat was to capture on f3, and that would attack the queen, so it would force white to capture back. And after the discovered attack bishop to h2, black would pick up the rook on d2, thus winning the game. So after the move king to h1, which sidesteps the move bishop to h2, Jan continues with the move c3 here, just pushing the pawn forward towards promotion. And after the move bc3 here, bc3, which is quite forced as well. Here, Ding Liren continues with rook to d4. And in this position, Jan continues with the move pawn to c2. And basically, there is nothing that Ding Liren can do here. He tries the move queen to h6 to cover the c1 square. But after the move pawn to e5, this move just attacks the rook here, and the rook is currently trapped. And with low time on the clock, it was in this position that on move 29, Grandmaster Ding Liren resigned the game, and Jan Nepomniachtchi picks up his first win in the World Chess Championship match after a long time, which is indeed a big moment for him, and big congratulations to Jan as he earns this well-deserved win. And from Ding Liren, what I would just say is that he needs to improve his accuracy overall, and to sort of try to take his time to sort of reflect on his preparation better here, because he came up with great preparation, but the moment he started to sort of forget his files, he just I wouldn't say he malfunctioned, but he just um could not allow himself to think objectively. Thus he spent more time, and he started making mistakes, and he found himself in very big trouble that costed him a 4 point. So that was game 2 from the World Chess Championship match, with a win for Jan. And now we just hope Ding comes back much stronger, as he will have to recover from losing the 4 points. I hope that you enjoyed this analysis. Please consider subscribing to the channel for more great chess content upcoming your way. And don't forget to like and share the video to other chess fellow lovers out there as well. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the World Chess Championship, which is indeed a great event to look forward to. I wish you a great rest of your day.